Hi friends, you're welcome to a tutorial build where you will learn how to build an admin dashboard using React and SCSS. In this tutorial alone, you are going to learn how to use React functional components. You're going to learn how to use React file and folder structure in order if you want to customize your project in the future. You're going to learn how to use Apex chart for the graph and this chart. You're going to learn how to use React icons. You're going to learn how to use SAS, and you're going to learn how to make custom animations using SCSS. Cool, right? Yeah. So all you need to do is just stick with me to the end, and I bet you won't regret it. See you in the build. Peace.
So being inside my VS Code, this is a brand new VS Code I just opened. So in order for us to get started, we need to do npx create react app, and we give our app name. For this case, we want to give our app name to be burger mean. But when I do this, it's going to create a lot of stuff inside of my work or inside of my project. So what I'll need to do is I created a GitHub repository that is going to help us for this. So you navigate over, I'm going to link it down in the description below. So you copy it and you do the git clone. In here you just say git clone and you paste the link and you wait for it to do the magic. Okay, so we are done, and now let's start working on the folder by installing some of our dependencies. So let me first of all bring the folder into our VS Code here. So I'll copy it and I'll just run code so you can open a new instance of Visual Studio Code. Oh, oops, by mistakenly removed it. Yeah, okay. So now let me close this one, and let me close also this other one, and yeah, you just go directly in your terminal, you run npm install to install all of the dependencies so that we can start using them in our file. While it is installing the dependencies, yeah, let us like have a look on what we have here. We have some icons here. There they are. We have some icons, some hamburger icons, some dashboard, and yeah, and also I'm importing all of these images directly from my images folder here. As you can see, I have 7 images inside of my images folder. So, and inside of my images folder, what I'm just doing here, I'm importing all of them. Import image 1, import image 2, image 3, image 4, image 5, right up to image 7. And this is like a cool trick. I just export all of them so that I can import all of them in one single line, like what I'm doing here. I just import all of them rather for me saying here again import, maybe import image 1 from that, and that's like boring. Sometimes you need to know how to minimize your code. And in here, this is the route, or this is our sidebar that we're going to be using, and here is the user from I took the image from Unsplash. We're going to see it more when we start doing it. And in here we are going to be using this one so you guys can see them very quick. So without further ado, I think my downloads are okay, my dependencies. Let me clear my terminal. npm start to start my development environment. Okay, cool. Now with everything we got in here inside of my app.js file, as you can see in here, as I told you, we are going to be using SAS. So I'm going to create a new instance. I'm just going to go like to the left, open another tab here, and now we'll say npm install SAS. We're going to be using silent. So I think my local host is already up. Yeah, this is it. Voila. So everything is running there, code at your taste. Cool. So in here, let's make our folder structure. We are going to be using, I'm going to create a new folder for the components and the other one for pages. So I'm going to say pages here, and hope you haven't forgotten our trick that we used in the images. We're going to create also another index.js file here so that we can import all of them and just export them in one single line. Sweet. So first thing first here, I'm going to create a new file, index.js, and up here I'm going to create our first component that we're going to be using, which is going to be for the sidebar, and inside of it we are going to have our sidebar.js. Great. And here I'm just going to run my RAFCE snippet in order for it to create me like a boiler or starter plate code. So in here I'm just going to allow it how it is, and I'm going to create another file here for my sidebar.scss like this, and I will close my navbar, that is Command B or Control B on Windows. So inside of here I'm going to import my sidebar from that, and I'm going to export also that sidebar that we're having up, and I will save it like that. Now since we are going to be using also React Router DOM, let me clear my terminal. I'm going to also install React Router DOM. We're going to be using it for our routing, so we can route from one page to another. Let me first of all import my sidebar. So I'm going to say here, import sidebar from /component like that. Sweet. And inside of my function here, since we are going to be using React Router DOM, I'm going to go inside of my index file so that I can cover everything here. Oops, not this one, my index.js in my source. Sweet. So now in here I'm going to import browser router as router so that I can just make it short. I'm importing it directly from React Router DOM. And now what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to say I'm going to wrap my app with my router like this, and I will close it. It auto completed it for me. So when I save it, everything needs to be okay. Yeah, sweet. Now I can go back here and I close this window satisfyingly. Okay, So now inside of here, I'm going to allow my div app, and I'm going to render first thing first my sidebar like that, and I will close it, and I need to see the text has changed to sidebar. Okay, sweet. But now if you like pay attention, you can see that this is our page is having some default margins and paddings, which means I need to remove them by going inside of my HTML. Yeah, I'm going to below my title here. Oops, I'm not having any title. Burger mean. Oops, typo. Burger mean. And I'm going to create my style here. Select my whole browser, and I give it a margin of 0, padding also of 0, box sizing of border box. Sweet. Now if I save my page, you can see, yeah, everything is okay. So now let me import the font family that we are going to be using here. We are going to be using the font family in here. We are going to be using this font, awesome font family known as Gilroy Bold. Yeah, this is the font family we are going to be using. It is kind of really amazing, just like Poppins, but not like Poppins. So we are going to be using it. So in here, I'm going to just paste the link I got from their website. Yeah, so this is a CDN for it, and also the way they told us to use it. So I'm just going to select my whole body here, body, and I paste it like this. Save. Now I'm expecting that my font family here should be changed. Okay, so with that being said, let's move to our sidebar and let's start working on it. So the first thing first here, with our sidebar, I'm going to give it a class name of app sidebar like this. And now I'm going to remove this text, and I'm going to have here our sidebar header like this. And now we are going to be using one icon that is going to be from React Icons. We haven't installed it yet, and it is coming from here. I'm going to install the package here. It is known as npm install react icons like that. Okay, so now in here I cannot import this one safely. Let me copy the name and I paste it from react icons /ai like that. Let me first of all comment this one, and I also comment this one, so that when it is done we are going to use them peacefully. So below here I'm just going to give a paragraph here for burger. Then inside of it I'm going to have a span, like a span. Then it's going to carry our mean like this. Sweet. I think our icons are done installing, which means I can uncomment this one and this one also. Sweet. Now if I save it, anymore. which means that if I go to my browser here, hold up, this is the icon here, very small for the moment. We are going to style it so that it can match our view the way we want it though. So first thing first, I'm going to have like below this div that we created here, yes, we are going to have our sidebar routes like this, and inside of it I'm going to have a UL without any class name where I'm going to map inside of it. For now I'm going to say routes dot map, not this route though. So routes dot map, I'm going to import it, and for each route like this I'm going to return an li. And please don't forget to have your key that is going to have your route.id, or maybe for now, since my icon they're kind of unique, I'm going to say route.icon like this. So inside of it I'm going to use the nav link from React Router DOM. It has auto imported it for me, nav link, and I'm going to say to, it's going to have a tool route.path. Sorry, that was a typo. Route.path like that. And let me close like that. And inside of it I'm going to have my route.icon, oops, like this, and below it I'm going to have a span for my route.name like this. So now let's import our route, because now it is nowhere to be found. If I save it, import route from, this time it's not going to be from React, it is going to be coming from our dummy data folder. So it's going to be going to this dummy, or is it data, yes, and dummy.js. So if you don't remember, I'm going to click on it. This is the export route file here. We have here, first thing first, our route path, our route, we have the foods, we have messages, we have bills, we have settings, yeah, that's it, and the name here, and the text. If you can like see, the text are like somehow not the same. Our icons are coming from React icons, so you can see them. Sorry, that was like a mistake I made though, but nevertheless, yeah. So like this we are kind of ready to go, yes, like this. So below our routes here, these routes here, don't forget we need to have like the user profile, so I'm going to go below this div, and I'm going to have another div that is going to be for our user profile container like this. And inside of it I'm going to have user container like this. Then inside of it I'm going to have an image that is going to be our user. Remember, we have also our user just below this, which is this user that I told you from the beginning that we took it from Unsplash. So in here I'm just going to say user like this, and below it I'm just going to write a paragraph here, maybe a paragraph like this. Thomas Edison. Somehow it's not Thomas Edison though. Yeah, like that. And below this div I'm going to have a link. Let me import it. It is coming from our React router. So in here I'm going to say I want also the link that is inside of it. Great. So now instead of our link here, I'm having, instead of our link, oops, sorry for that. Instead of our link here, I want to first of all give it a class name that is going to be for profile. Oops, profile link, because we are going to style it, and it is having a text of open profile like this, and also it is having a to property. Where is it going? So I want it to go to the settings page like this. Great. So this is our icon here, and this is our text just below it. Great. So now I'm going to go back to our index.js here, and I will just directly select all of our paragraphs. I want to give them a text decoration to be none, and also like the color should be inherit like that. That means they're going to be somehow black now, but though they will still be maintained as links, so don't panic, don't shake. Yeah, so the JSX is kind of done. So now let's go into our CSS. Yeah, this is where like start beautifying everything. So instead of our CSS, I'm going to say app underscore sidebar. Yeah, and now first of all going to give it a display of flex, and also a flex direction set to be colon, and I'm also going to give it a minimum height of 100 vh, and I'm going to give it a position of fixed, so that like it is fixed, it is not shaking. Give it a top of 0 and also a left of 0, yeah, so that it could be maintained at this particular position here. It shouldn't go out of it. So now below it I'm going to give it a width of 20 rem like this, and let me just give it a background color of red so you can see it somehow. Let me open my terminal like this, trying to refresh the page. Hold up, it is not taking. Let me copy. Oops, shit, we haven't imported it, so I'm going to say import this. So it is sidebar .scss like that. Oh, I almost forgot it. And yeah, I think we'll be done. It is going to load now. While we are waiting for it to compile, let's just finish with the others. I'm going to give it, I think it is done, a z index of 1. Yeah, so it can be on top like of everything. And I'm also going to give it a transition of var trans. So if you're wondering where this trans is coming from, inside of my app.css, like the pre files that I gave you here, you can see in here we have like a trans here. This is it, which is 0.3 seconds is in and out. Yeah, and it also has like a dark, we have the yellow, we have light, we have white, red, like this red color, the shadow that we're going to be using, and also the border. Yep. Then also this outlet, we shouldn't forget about it. This outlet also, we are going to be using it. Yes, like that. So if I now go here, as you can see, this is everything we need. Great. Which means that I can come back here and I remove this background of here, and I instead say var. Yeah, I want the white variable like this. It is there, but you can't see it, so I'm going to give it a border right, so you can have like some border to the right, and I'm going to use the var border, our border variable we created. So now while it saves, I think it needs to be there. Why is it not showing? Oops, I don't know, but it is going to show definitely. Yeah, and inside of it I'm going to give it also some padding of 2 rem, like that, like this. Yeah, so you have basically done with that part. Now let's take our sidebar header like this, and now we want to give it also a display of flex, align items of center, and also a height of fit content, height of fit. What the fit content does is like it just takes the height it has been given, like its maximum height. So now you can see both of them are here, and now inside of it I want to target this SVG. This is the SVG here, like all icons from React icons, they are SVGs. So if I inspect this particular SVG here, we are going to see, like if I inspect a particular icon, you're going to see that it is an SVG, like, so this is it, like it's an SVG. So we can actually style it. Of my CSS, I'm going to target the SVGs. So instead of the SVG, I'm going to give it first of all a color, a color of var red. Okay, now it is not showing, I guess because we haven't connected our app.js to our CSS. So slash app.css, like that. So now, they say we can resolve. Oh, for real? This is the app. Shit. Yeah, let me put it inside of the source. Sorry about that. Like this. So now the color has been changed. Sweet. And you can also see, if you see well, like the border we applied previously has also been applied. Okay, so great. So now here, what we are going to do is, below here we are going to give it a margin right of 1 rem, and also we're going to give it a height of 40 pixels, a width also of 40 pixels, some border radius of 5 pixels, and also a padding of 5 pixels like this. Let me not forget to also give it a background of the light like this. Yes. So now if you barely take a look at it, we have something that's there. So now inside of our guy here, below this SVG, our paragraph that we had, here, I'm going to give it a font size of 1.5 rem and also a font width of bold. So which means if I save it, let me close our inspect window. So if I save it now, you can see how it has been applied, and I see like we have some space. Let me open back the sidebar. Yeah, the space needed to be removed like that. Okay, so now they are one. And also I want to take my span that is inside of my peak tag, and I want to give it a color of this red variable that we declared like this. So now it makes kind of some sense. Yeah, like that. Oops. So now inside of it, I'm going to go to my sidebar like this, sidebar routes, this route div, yeah, and we want to style it first of all by giving it a margin top of something like 2 rems, and also we want to take the UL that is within it, and first of all we want to remove the list styles that are found in there. So if I comment this line and I go back here, you can see like these dots that are found in it. So those are list styles. So if I put a list style of none and I go back here, as you can see, it has removed all of them. Great. Now I can also do like padding also of 0 and also a margin also of 0. Great. Now I want to take my LIs that are found inside of them, and inside of my LIs I want to take like all of my anchor tags that are found within it, because the nav link is an anchor tag, and I want to give it a display of flex and align items of center like that. Oops, align items like that. First of all, give them a background color of red like that. Li like this. So all of them are having now a background of red. So now inside of this, let me finish styling them. Let me give in there some padding of 0 rem, like 0 rem top and bottom, and also 1 rem left and right. And also I can give them some transition of var trans, and also they are going to have some border radius of 5 pixels like this. So now you can see each of them, they are there. It look now great. Okay, now just within it, the icons also that I found there, I'm going to say SVG, SVGs, SVG, like this. And I'm going to give it also a font size also of 1.5 rem, like this. So if I save now, you can see the font size here has been increased. So now inside of it, I want also that you should have a margin right of 1 rem, like this. Great. Let me remove this background color. It should be blank. So now here, I want that when I hover on it, so in order for us to apply a hover style, we use the and then we apply now our pseudo class hover, like this. Now we want to change the background to be var yellow, like this. So if I go back now to my work and I hover on it, as you can see, it changes to yellow, sweet, like this. Okay, why I preferred using this one rather than the link is because we have like some active state that is present inside of this nav link. The nav link is more like, I can say, more advanced than the normal link, which what do I mean is inside of here, like let me just go inside of here, just below our hovering, I can say here when it is active dot active here, like this, I just want to change the background color. The background color here, it is going to be the var yellow. Oops, yellow, like this. Now if I save it, you are going to see it will apply now the active state directly on our first link that we have here. And our first link that we have in here is the dashboard link. So if I go now to another page, it would automatically remove the active state from the first child and apply it to the second child, or to the third child, or to the next child that's found within that index. Okay, great. So now with that being said, I can now remove this and I go to my user profile, page, which is going to be, where is this one ending? Yeah, I think here. So now here I'm going to say user profile container. I want to give it a background. It is going to be having somehow a background color. Background here is going to be white. It's going to be using our white variable here, and it's also going to be having a margin top of 3 rem, like this. As you can see, it has shift down, and it's also going to have a box shadow of our shadow property that we created, and also is going to have some border radius of 5 pixels, a padding of 1 rem, and also it is going to have some gap or yep, it is going to have a gap, but in order for us to apply the gap, you need to have like a display property, so colon, which means now here I can apply my gap of 1 rem, like this, 1 rem. Sweet. So it is there, don't worry, it is there. Now below it, below this one, I'm going now to take my user profile, the one that is down, user container, and I want to have it to take the width of 100%, and also it is going to be, we are going to centralize everything that is inside here, so I'm going to give it a display of flex direction, so that all of them can be in a column format. Justify content, or first of all align items to be centered and justify content to be centered. Now if I go back here, no changes has been made though. Now I think it is right time, let's start styling the image that is found within it. So inside of the image, we want to give it a height of 50 pixels and also a width of 50 pixels. It is going to have a border radius of 50%, and it is also going to have an object feet set to cover, so that our image is not like swatch, or our image is not bent like that, something like that. And now you can see everything is okay, like our cool box shadow that we are having, somehow great. And below here we are going to have maybe a margin bottom of 1 rem, like this, so that we can separate it from our text or the username. Yep, like this. Great. So now below the image, don't forget we have a paragraph, or this paragraph here, for the username. So I'm going to take that paragraph that is found within it, and I'm going to give it a background color. It is, or not yet, not this one, sorry though. So inside of this paragraph here that we are having, we are going to give it a font weight of bold and also a font size of 1.5 rem, like this. So if I save it now, you can see the username, which is bold, and also below this div, this user container div that we are having here, we want to take our profile link. So this is the profile link here, don't forget this one, like this. So for precaution, we just copy it and paste it so that we don't make an error. So in here, I'm going to give it a background color of var, and it's going to be using this light here, and we are going to give it also a padding of 0.8 rem top and bottom, and 1 rem left and right. And also we want to give it already having a color, so we are going to maintain the color. We want to give it a border radius of 5 pixels, and we want to align the text that is here, so we are going to say text align center, like this. So if I now save it, the white color is somehow not, it is there but not totally there. So I'm going to give it also, so that when we hover on it, we can apply our yellow background var yellow like this. So now when I hover on it, it is there. But let me apply some transition var trans like this. Okay, which means that when I pass it now, it is going to be great. Now take a look. When I click on this link, it is going to apply to this one here, which is great. Really great. So now I can change this one back, this link, and I instead use my nav link like this, which means that it is going to apply. We can now also apply our guide to it, our active state active to it. Just copy this one and I paste it like that. Great. So now, which means that if I go now to another page, it is going to remove, and when I click on this one, it applies both the active state on this button and also to this other side here. Great. So basically we are done with our sidebar. It is pretty great, pretty looking cool. Now let's create the other pages. So now let me close my sidebar and I go now to my app, the JS file here. So now inside of my app.js file here, this is where now we need to start implementing the routing. So the route that is going to be coming from React Router DOM, and it is having a path. Where is this one going? I want this one to go to the main page, and also it needs to have like an element the / is our home page. That means anytime it's going to go to this / route, so I'm going to put here, we are going to say home. We haven't created it yet, we are going to create it. So home like this. Now we are going to have home, and we are going to have also another route that is going to have a path. For this one is going to be for settings. This part is going to be going to the settings page, settings like this, and it's going to have also the element that is going to load when it's going to this settings page. Here it is going to have, we are going to see that settings like this. We haven't created them yet, but we are going to create them, so don't worry, and also don't forget to close them. So for the first page, which is our home, we are going to go inside of our pages folder, and we are going to create our different folders. So for the first one, we're going to have home, and for the other one, we are going to have foods. We need to have also, we need to have messages. We need to have, for this part, we need to have our bills. Oops, I created it but inside of our images. Whoa, let me drag it and bring it inside of my pages here, and inside here we need to have, inside of my pages, yeah, I think that is okay for now. Pages home, yep. So now here I'm going to create a new file for home js, I'm going to run my RAFCE React arrow function export. Now also don't forget to just say index.js, where we can now say import home from home.js. Oops. And now I can say export home like this. So now instead of my app.js here, I can just say import home like this from pages like this. And I also want to create, no, so also I forgot to create the settings page. So now in here we are going to say settings like this. Oops, I forgot to put its extension, the JS RAFCE. Yes, now it is done. Great. Let me import just the settings. Import settings from settings here, and settings like this. So now instead of my app.js, did I even export it? No, but I'll export it. Settings like this. Let me go to the index and I also export settings like this. Great. So now if I open my terminal, and it's supposed to have no error, because I can use this route out of my route like this route. Let me bring it inside here. Route like this, Oh, sometimes you can make just some little mistakes and you're gone. Okay, so now I think that one is okay. Yeah, I'm going to give it a class name, and this class name is going to be it's going to have two class names. So the first one is going to be app home, and the other one is going to be outlet. So don't forget, quick, instead of our app.css file here, we have like an outlet, so that we can float everything to the right side so you can see them. So now I guess I spelled it correctly. Let me just copy it for precaution. Class name, where did I maybe it was in the settings, outlet and app home, I think it was here. So this one needs to be app settings like this. Great. So now if I open here, we can now see our home. Pretty great, pretty awesome. Yes, like that. Now we are going to create another component that is going to be for the header component. Yeah, so instead of a component folder, let me close everything so that we can have like a proper view. So here I'm going to say header, and instead of a header here, header js. Let me create also the css at once. Header dot scss like this. Cons header equals to our arrow function like this, and we just want to return like this a div, and in here we are going to be taking some props, title, and inside of here I'm going to give it a class name of header, just so like that. Now also I will need to import its class or its style, header dot scss like this. So now inside of it here I'm going to have first of all an h1 that is going to have first of all a title. Its content is going to be the title that I'm going to be passing like props anytime that I call it. And now just below this one I'm going to have also a div, and I'm going to give it a class name of header end like that. So now inside of here I'm going to give a paragraph like that, and I'm going to give it also a class name of header notification like this, and it's going to have like some icons from React Icons. It is mild notification like this. So which means I need to import it from React Icons, slash io like that. So now inside of our home, our home is going to have that header, and I'm going to give it a title, this title here like a prop of dashboard like this. So where I can just see import header from, I go first out of this and I go and I take the components folder, and I take the header that's found within it. So yeah, I'm having some errors. They say this is not found. Okay, which means that I need to go inside of my index, inside of my components here, import header from header, and I copy this one, then I export it like this. Wait, like this. So still having some other errors. They say this is not found. Okay, I think it is notifications, not notification. Notifications with S. Oh, I might have like a typo. Okay, like this. Still having some errors. Okay. Oh, I forgot to export default header like this. And I think everything needs to be okay. So if I go now here, voila, you can see now here like that. Wait, so also we are going to be using this below this paragraph here. I'm going to have also another like a div that is going to have a div with a class name of header search. Oops, like this. Close it, and it's going to have a paragraph, and the paragraph is going to be having the paragraph is going to be having some icon for search. It is still going to be coming from React icons, class name of search icon like this. Oops, like this. So just above this one, I'm going to say import this from React icon / FA font awesome. Yep, like that. And just below this paragraph, we're going to have an input, and we are going to have a type of text, and we're going to have a placeholder. Our placeholder here is going to be a search, 3 dots like this. Great. And I save the work. So now here you can see this is it, which means now we need to style it. Yeah, pretty great, right? So now here I'm going to say it is header, I think. Header, yep. So we named it header. So my header, I'm going to give it a display of flex, and also an align items, also of center with a width of 100%. Oops, I forgot my semicolon. Like that. And also a justify content of space hyphen between, like this. So now it has separated them on each side. Great. So now our H1 that is inside there, we want to first of all give it a font size of 1.5 rem, and also a font weight of bold, like this. And I want to take this header end here, dot header end, give it a display of flex. Let me just copy this one, display of flex, and I paste it here, display of flex, align items center, and a gap of 2 rem plus a flex of 0.5 rem, like this. Like this. After here, I'm going to take this header notification here, like this. Let me just paste it there, header notification, and I'm going to give it a margin right of 1 rem, and it's also going to have a color of var, this variable that we want to be given here, light dark, light underscore dark, and also we want to give it somehow a background, and I want to give it an RGB value, so it's going to be 226, 226, like this. Somehow a little bit gray, but not gray, or maybe it can be gray though. And it's also going to have a height of 40 pixels and a width of 40 pixels, with also a display property of flex, align item center, justify content center, so that it can be centralized. Justify content to be at the center, like this. Great. So it is now being centralized. Great. And instead of it, I just want to take the SVG so I can increase SVG like this. Removing this one here, I can just take this SVG and I give it a font size of 1.2 rem, like this, so that it shouldn't be that big, but somehow a little bit big, like this. Yes. Okay, great. Now that I'm done with that other side, I can now see, let me close my terminal. Instead of my this, I can now say I want to take my header search. If I haven't made an error, yes, header search. So inside of my header search right now, what I will do is, first of all, give this a display of flex and align items off center, and also take it a background of white, like this, and also give it some flex so that I can take the maximum width at secant, like this, flex of 1. Yep, like this. I feel it. So now instead of it here, I'm having a typo here, like this. So you can see it is stretched out itself to its maximum limit. And if I go to my local host, like the current one we are building, localhost, it is running at localhost 1 at port 1. Here it is. Don't be afraid, we are going to fix it. So now if I go back now here, you can now see in here. Let me also give this H1 also a flex of 0.5 rem. Yes, like this. Okay, now it makes sense. Great. So now in here, instead of, let me close the things we are not using. I'm using the home now. So now instead of my header search, just below it, just below this one here, after this flex, I want to take my paragraph and I give it a margin at the right, and it's going to be just 1 rem. And I'm also, I think I'm just repeating my styles. This, I'm just going to copy it and now paste it here like this. Let me go back to the actual build like this. Yeah, this is what I was talking about. Great. So now just below it, I want to take also the icon. Let me first of all take the icon, this search icon, this one. Great. So now below it, oh yeah, inside of it, search icon, yeah, it is within. So inside of my search icon, I want to give it also a size of like that. Great. Now just below this one, I want to take the input, the awesome input, like this, and I will give it a border of none, and it's going to have also an outline of none, a background of transparent, and it is going to have also a color of our var light underscore dark, like this. And it's also going to have a font hyphen size of 0.9 rem, like this. And also it is going to have a width of 100%, like this. Great. So now if I go back here, you can now see how great it is. And also let me not forget to give some padding at the left, padding at the right, padding right of 1 rem, like this. Great. So now you can see now where it ends. If I continue typing, hello, great. Now I can now remove everything found inside of this. Oops, somebody save, cancel, like that. Okay, so now we're done with our header. Our header is pretty functioning but if I made something error, this guy here, the input here, the icon, pardon, the icon is not having the same height with this other one. So I think it is here. Instead of a width, I'm going to give it a mean width like this. So it's going to have like a minimum width of 40 pixels. Now you can see both of them, they are having the same width and height. Great. So now inside of our settings page, we are going to continue with the home after, but before doing that, let's do the food page. Yeah, I love eating. I love eating. So now inside of my foods, I'm going to have a new file, foods.js, and inside it I'm going to have a foods.scss like this, closing back my navbar. So I'm going to say const foods equals to arrow function, and I'll just say return a div here with a class name of outlet and also app foods like this. Great. Let me just say foods, export default foods, and let not also forget to import our foods.scss. Great, like this. Now if I go just below here, I say also import foods from foods like this. I'm going to say now here foods like this. Great. Which means that if I say like that, I can just import it directly here, foods, and I can just use it just below by saying here foods. Like this, and also here foods. Great. Which means that I can go to my foods page. Great. Now I can see. So instead of my foods page, let me close my guy there, open my CSS just near it. I would like to import this header here also by say import. Let me go to this home page and I just copy this line and I paste it like this. Great. Now I can have also my navbar inside here, and I can also pass here a props title also for here is going to be foods like this. So now I can now see my food title. Great. So now just below it, just below this header that we created here. Just below it we are going to have maybe our foods container. I'll say here I'm going to create a div here with the class name equals to this foods container, like this. And in here we are going to map inside of our foods array. So let me comment this line and I go to my dummy and I says this is our foods array that we have here. This foods array kind of very big, like we have 7 items inside of our foods array. Great. So now inside of this our foods array, let me close now our dummy, go back to this particular part. So foods.map, for each food that we have in here we want to return a div. Let me not forget to close a div just like so. And also let me import foods from this is going to be coming out of these food pages dummy, and just here I'm going to take my data. So yes, first of all data, I think yes, the data folder, yep. Then now dummy, just like so. So save, they are there but you can see them right now. So now for each food we want to first of all map, and here please don't forget to give your key. My key is going to be food food.id, just like so. And I'm going to give here also a class name. Let me go down, a class name, and in here I'm going to give some backticks here. We are going to say food or food container, and the next one is going to be food $, and the curly brace is going to be for food.id, just like so. Great. And below it or inside of the div, let's display our first image, or let's display the images img src equals to food dot image, like this. And don't forget to have your art, yep, like that. And so now food, we want to have a paragraph, don't forget that one, paragraph for food dot name, and we also want to have below this paragraph, we're going to have a span for food dot price, like this. Great. Now you can see inside of here we are having everything inside of it. Great. Now inside of here, let's start by styling it. So I'm going to go inside my food.scss, the awesome food.scss, and I'm going to say, let me first of all copy app foods, and I will say here background here is going to be var light, like that, and it's going to have a minimum height of 100 vh, 100 view height, and also inside of it, let's take this guy here. As you can see, the color has changed. It was first of all white. Now inside of this foods container here that we are mapping, inside of it, so I'm going to say foods container. First of all, here we're going to first of all change it. We're going to say display here of grid, and inside here I'm going to say grid hyphen template columns, and I want that it should repeat 3 times 1 fraction 1 fr. So if I save it, you can see here they are. If I give here maybe a background of maybe red, so you can have like a quick overview of it. So here it is. So now I want to give it a gap of 1 rem, like so that we can like space them out from each other. A padding to the top of 2 rem, padding top of 2 rem, like that. Let me just remove this background color of red so that you can see very well. Remove also this home. So now inside here, let me just take this food container that is found within this one, and this is where you need to do like food container background of white, and also it is going to have a box shadow of shadow, and we're going to have a padding of 1 rem, like so. So which means that here they are. They're going to have a border radius of 5 pixels, like this, so they can have like some rounded corners. We are going to have some transitions of trends, like this, and also we're going to give it a qsol pointer, qsol of pointer, since we are going to be clicking on them, and they are also going to have some text aligned to be at the center, and they are also going to have some height, fit, content, like this. Like this. Great. So now everything now is centralized inside of it, and also I want to take the image in here. I want to give the image, first of all, its maximum height, of 50 pixels, 500 pixels, and object fit to be cover. Great. So no changes are applied, so let's move on. Let's continue working on it. So I'm going to take the paragraph that I found here, and I'm going to give it some margin at the top and bottom of 2 rem, top and bottom, and 0 rem left and right, and they are going to be having some font sizes of 1.5 rem, and also they are going to be having some text transform to be capitalized like this. So now there they are. Also going to take the span that is within it. First of all, going to give it, taking the span inside of here. Let's give this one a font weight of bold, so that I can just copy this one, give it the same styles, but just that this one I want to remove this one and give it a color of yellow. Sorry for that. Yes, like this. So now there they are, well arranged, well structured. Great. So now this is where now we want to start, first of all, by doing some JavaScript, so that when anytime we click on one, we have like that slide that comes from the left to the right end. So let's do it. So I'm going to go now, inside of here, inside of my foods, go inside of my foods here. Let me go down in here. So we are first of all going to maintain our state, so we are going to say cons. In here we are going to say cons selected food, comma, set selected food, which is going to be use state, and at the beginning we want it to be null. So we need to first of all import use state since it is coming from React. So we are going to say import use state from React. So we can now save it. Okay, so in here we want that anytime we click on this here, so I'm going to say here that on click here, anytime we click here, I want to fire this function that is inside of here. So set selected, let me just copy it. Set the selected food to be this food here. So now if I come down here and I say console.log food or selected food, console.log selected food, and I open my console like this. As you can see, it is null. So now if I select this one, as you can see here, it prints it to me, everything like, yeah. Now I cannot use this selected food now to create maybe a component in here that I'm going to call here. So inside of here, I'm going to create a new component that is going to be for selected food. So now inside of it, I'm going to create the selected food.js, where I'm just going to run in here const selected food is going to be an arrow function export default selected food. So inside of here, we just want to return like this. What do we want to return? We want to return here a div with a class name of selected food, like so. Let me close the div. Let me also import import this select.scss like this. So I can create a file. As you can see, it has created a file. So now inside of here, anytime that I click on this selected food, I'm just going to call this selected food here, selected food. So I want to pass it like a prop. This food is going to be the selected food, and I'm going to pass also this set selected food. Set selected food equals to set selected food with pattern here was selected, copy, paste, change it. So now I can import this one now also from my components. Import selected, copy, and I paste it here. So inside of the index of my component here, I just want to import this one, and I say selected food, and I also pass it like that. Oops, massive. In here I made somehow a typo. So inside of my components that I have my selected food. Oops, F2, it is selected food. Now inside of my index.js, I think it needs to be highlighted. Why is it not highlighted? Selected food. Let me just close it. Voila, like that. See, we're just some little mistake. I had a typo. Oops. Yes. Like this. Okay, great. So now instead of my selected food, yeah, let me first of all destructure what I'm having here as my props, food, and also select set selected food, like this. So now inside of this div, what I want to do here is first of all make something like a dynamic class. Yeah, it is not just going to be selected food. In here I want to, let me first of all put back what I had here. So inside here I want to first of all give it some styles. Yeah, some styles that if there is the food, or before I say left, so the left here is going to depend if there is the food, comma, if there is a food, question mark, I want it to be at 0. Then if there is not food, I want it to be at negative 100 view width, view w, like so. And I also want to give this one, maybe change the name to be food selected container. It should be somehow long so that we can have a proper styling here. Follow. Now inside of here I want to have first of all a div with a class name of here console, this console, yeah, so that anytime we click here on click, anytime we click here, we want to set back, we want to fire this selected food here, this one here, set this selected food to be null, back to be at its original position, like this. So that one is going to be, we are going to allow it like that for now. And I'm having some errors inside of my terminal, which is saying that, okay, it is done. I thought it was an error. So now in here we are going to have another div of a class name of selected container, like so. Inside here we're going to have, pardon, an icon for info, like so, which means that I need to import this far info from React icons/fa, like that. So I want you now to pay attention to this. It is not going to show, somehow it is down here, but when I refresh, yeah, it is going to be here. But since we are going to apply the stylings, you are going to see it is going to be bringing out the window from there. And also I think inside of my foods here, I made an error. I forgot this $sign. Great. So we can have like a $sign for $10, 10 bucks. Yep. So now just below or within it, someone said I made also a typo here. I'm just going to highlight like that. So now here we are going to have here first of all a div for a div with the class name equals to be this selected, like so. And also here we are going to distinguish it from a div class name, which is going to be for selected top, and inside of it we are going to have an image with an src, which is going to be food dot image, like this. Like that. So it's going to be for food.image, and just below it we are going to have a paragraph for the food.name. Then inside here we're going to have a span, inside of the span we are going to have our $sign first of all, $sign, then now food dot price, like this. Oops, you must see we're having some errors. We're having some errors inside of our console. We're having some errors. So what are the errors? Cannot read property of null of image. Okay, so I'm going to give a question mark, and also a question mark, just like this. Great. So I shouldn't forget. So now if I click here, if I click this one, you see how it changes, right? If I click this one, that's how the image changes. Great. So now inside of here, just below this one, but let's first of all style what we've done so far. Let's style this selected container. So inside of this selected container, let me go inside of my selected.css div, and I'll also give it a position of fixed, and it's going to have a top, at 0, left also at 0, and it's also going to have maybe some background. The background is going to be an RGBA value button. So this is the background we're going to be having, and it's also going to have some width a width of 100 view width. So I'm going to give it a height of 100% like this. Okay, now if I save my work and I go to the foods page, when I click, that's it. And also let me not forget to give. So now there they are. When I click, now it is showing their bird with my linear grading and everything. But somehow it is not against, so I'm going to give it a 99 so that it can be above everything that is found there. So while waiting for it to compile, I think now, yeah, this is my image. My image is found now there above everything, which now I can see I can give it a display of flex and align items to be centralized, and justify content to be at the flex end, yeah, so that they can appear, all of them can appear at the end here. If I say flex start, is going to bring all of them to be starting here. So but for this case I want them to be at the end, so I'm going to say flex end here. Sweet. And also here I'm going to give you some transition so that I can come out smooth. Transition of var our trans like this. Sweet. Great. So now just below it, inside of our console, I want to give it a width of 5 pixels, and also it's going to have a height of 150 pixels, some border radius of 5 pixels also, and it's going to have a margin right of 5, maybe 0.5 rem, yeah, and also a cursor of pointer so that it can be clickable, and also a background. Let's not forget this one, a background of, we are going to be using this light variable, yeah. So you can see this is a light, this is a guy here, it's just like, so now if I click on this guy, you see how it went. When I click here, it comes back. When I click now here, it goes back. Pretty cool, sweet, nice animation. So below my console here, I want to take now this selected container here. So instead of this selected container, I want to give it some background of var. This background is going to be white, and also it is going to have a height of 100 view height, and also it's going to have some width of 40%, so you shouldn't take the whole width, and also it's going to have some border radius of 20 pixels at the top, 0 at the right, 0 at the bottom, and also 20 pixels left. So now if I go back to my guy here, if I click, are you seeing the border radius at this end here? I guess you're seeing it. So if I now go back inside of my code here, and I want to give it, For now, it's going to have a position of relative. Position of relative. I said position. Position of relative, like that. And it's also going to have some pattern of 2rem, so that everything inside of it should be having some space at the borders. So now here I want to collect this SVG here. I'm going to give it a class name of I. So inside of this I here, dot I, the I here is going to be having some positioning of absolute at the top of 2rem, and also left of, no, this time around is going to be right of 2rem, like this. And also it's going to be having a background of light, so that it can have some border radius of a border radius of 5 pixels, so that we can maintain 5 pixels nearly everywhere. A pattern of 0.5 rem, a cursor of pointer, a width of 40, and also a height of 40 pixels. So if I save it and I go back here, I guess you're seeing it. Here it is. So now just below it, we are going to give it a display of flex, align item center, and justify content of center, so that it can be selected. So that it should be vertically and horizontally aligned at the center. Great. So now if I go now here below it, I want to take my selected foods. So just below this I, paste my selected food, and it's going to having some pattern at the top of 4rem, and also is going to have some width of 100%, some display of flex, and also some flex direction to the column, and also going to have some justified content to be at the center, like this, so it could be centralized everything. So now in here I'm going to collect my selected top, and I paste it just below, and inside of my selected top I want to give it some display of flex direction to be at the column, align items to be at the center, so that now it's at the center. So now after it, I want to give it a width. It's going to have some width of 100%, and also a height of fit content. Then it's also going to have some margin bottom of 2rem, like this. You can see it right now because all of the other guys, they're not there. So don't worry, we're going to fix it for you. So images, I want to give this image a maximum height. First of all, maximum height of 100 pixels, and also a maximum width of 100 pixels. Object fit here to be cover, and also I want to transform its scale here by 1.5, so that it can be somehow a little bit big, but it should not be more than 100 pixels. Great. So now just below this image here, I want to collect my paragraph. Paragraph is going to be having some margin at the top of 3rem, so that it could be seen also. And also it's going to be having some font size of 0.5 rem, font width of bold, like that. Also going to be having some text transform of capitalize, text transform capitalize, like this. Yes. Also going to be having some display of flex and flex direction to be at the column, and also want to align everything that's there to be at the center, so that we can select our span that is there. Our span that is there is going to just have some color of yellow, like this. Great. Now just below in here, if I click here, it goes. If I select another image, it comes with the image. Click back, it goes. Great. So now we are done with that part. We are done with everything that's there. So now just below, we're done with the styling, with the style. So below this paragraph, or below this div, out of this div here, I'm going to give another div here of maybe selected inner, like selected inner. So then here we can see if there's, first of all, we can map inside of the foods. If there is the foods, we should not forget our question mark food dot details dot map, and for each detail that we have here, we just want to return a selected details, like this. It is not given. I need to make it myself. Class name equals to selected detail, like this. Closing it, div. Yes. So now in here, first of all, let me give this one a key. The key is going to be equal to the detail dot id, like so. And it's also going to be having, inside of it, we are going to have another div that is going to be holding our div with the class name of text container, like so. Great. Now instead of a text container, we want to first of all have an image, imgsrc, which is going to be for detail that image, and also going to have an out of an empty string, so that we should not be having like some errors. And we are going to have a paragraph here that is going to have detail dot description, just a short form. So I shouldn't forget to close my div, like so. So now if I save it, now if I select one image here, boom, I'm having some errors in my console, which means that map, oh, I have like a double P, yeah, which means that I need just one P. So if I click now, great, there it is. It is there. Feels so great. So I have SRC, yeah, like that. So now with that part, I can now say I'm going to have just below, I'm going to have some buttons. So I'm going to say div here, div with the class name of btn container, pardon. So in here I'm going to create some buttons, button that's going to have a class name of btn. Here is going to be minus, pardon, its content is going to be minus, and the other one is going to be for plus, like that. And let me close the div by copying this one, just pasting it like that. Great. So there it is. I have my div. Okay. So now just below it, I'm just going to have my div here. Just below this div here, I'm going to have below, I think below this one here, I'm going to have a button which is just going to be add to cart. So now I think I need to have them here, but nevertheless we are going to style it so that everything can be shown. Yes. So now here below this one, so that's been highlighted there, I'm going to say selected inner. If I don't make an error, it needs to be this. Let me just copy it and put it like that. Okay, so I'm going to have a display of flex and also a flex direction. Let me just copy this one, flex direction, and also going to have a gap of 1 rem, like so. Great. So now inside of here, inside of my guy here, I'm just going to say selected details, this one that is within. So selected details is having a display of flex align items of center. I'll copy this one, remove this colon here, display of flex align items of center, and a justify content of space between, like so. So now you can see there they are, like it has spaced out these buttons with this other one. Okay, great. So inside here we have like this text container. I'm just going to copy it, which is inside of this guy here, and I'm going to copy this first line here and add it here, save it like that, so that voila, there they are. So now inside of here I can take directly the images, give them some height and width. Height of 50 pixels and also a width of 50 pixels. Great. And also they are going to have some border radius of 5% and also some object feet of cover. Great. So you can see now they're having some margins and there they are. So now just below this image, the paragraph that we have just below the image, just beside or next to the image, this paragraph here, we are going to give it some font weight. So it's going to be font hyphen weight set to be bold, like this, so that the description can be more visible. And also below this one here, this that btn container, in case you remember it, this one here, I'll copy it to be more precise. So btn container is having also a display of flex and also align items of center. So let me bring it here like this, and it's also having a gap of 1 rem, like so. Then I'll take in the btns that are found within them, the buttons. Remember we gave each of them some names, so I'm going to give them a background of yellow, and also they're going to have some borders of none and also outline of none. Color will be var the dark, like so. Going back to the, and also it's going to be having some font size of 1.2 rem or 1.3 rem. I'm going to give them some height and width. I'm just going to copy this one, copy and paste them here, changing the 50s. Hold up, changing the 50s to 40s. Let me go back. Great. So now there they are. I shouldn't forget to take my display of flex and also justify hyphen content to be at the center. So now if I save, you can see them. Let me not forget also to give them a cursor of a pointer, like so. Great. So they can be like, show that, oh, we are clickable. Then just after it, give them some border radius of 5 pixels, like so. And maybe also give it a font weight of bold. Yes, like that. Okay, so now just going right down like this last button that we have here, this button. So I think if I don't make an error, it is instead of this div. Nope, it is inside of this one, the selected container. Yes, so it is inside of this selected container, so which means it needs to be here. So this one needs to be here. Add to cart button, add to cart. Let me remove. We are done searching. Add to cart button will have a width of 100%, a width of 100%, and also a background of we want it to use the yellow. Also have some transition of trans, and also a margin top of margin at the top of the rem, so you can see it properly. Is it done saving? Yes, so there it is. It is done saving. So I'm just going to copy some of the styles that we give here. Border, none. I'm going to paste it here also. So in here we are going to have some padding directly, padding of 0.8 rem, so we can be consistent. Some border radius that I'm going to copy, and some cursor with some text of font weight bold. I'm just going to paste here so that it could look great. Okay, voila. So now I can just put some hovering, some over here, and I change this background from yellow to light. Yeah, I want to change the yellow to light, and I want to also copy this so that we can apply it here. Great. So now if I go here, I think it's there, but you can see it. Yes. So now just below this one where we have this transition, I will copy it and also apply it here so that it can also be smooth. Yes. Okay, great. So if I click here, it goes. I select this one, it comes. Click here, it goes. Select this one, it comes. Great. So we are done with our food page. So now we need to work with the dashboard page. So now instead of this dashboard page, let me just close everything. Don't forget that our home is a dashboard page. So I'm going to go inside pages, inside of home here, close. My terminal is running. Yep, great. So we're going to create a component known as home count, inside of which we are going to have home count.js, and where we are just going to run our RAFCA in order for it to create our React arrow function. I'm just going to give here a class name of home count like this, and I'm just going to import its CSS home count.scss. So I'm just going to create the file directly like that, and don't forget to import it inside of your index then export it. Import home count, then you export home count like this, which means that inside of my home page now, just below my header here, I can bring in my home count like this. It has auto imported it for me here, so I will save it like that, and I'll go back by closing these windows, closing also my home. Great. So now inside of this home count, what I will do is I will start by giving it a div here. I'll give this one home item. Instead of item on, also for this first one we are going to have here total menus like this, and below it we are going to have here a div for item count like this. We are going to have a paragraph that is going to have 124, and also we are going to bring in here an icon which is going to be BS, I think is arrow up, BS arrow up circle, which is React icons. So I'll just import it directly. I'll import it here by say import this from React icon / BS like this. Great. And just below it I'm going to have a span that is going to have 12.5% like this. Great. So now here what I'll do is I'll save it, go back to my page. Here they are. So what I'll do now is I'll just duplicate this guy, this one, not duplicate, I'll like create them 4 times like this. Now in here I'm going to change this one. Instead of total menus we're going to have here total revenue like this, and here we are going to have, instead of this we're going to have 10 grand like this, and here we're going to have 4%, and here instead of arrow down we are going to be, instead of arrow up, pardon, we are going to be using arrow down. So I'll just put a comma here, they are the same, just put a comma like that, and okay, we are ready to go with that one. Great. Now with this one I'll change this one from menu also, and here I'll put here total orders, and instead of here I'll put 57, and also I'll change this to 2.8% or 2.18%, and I'm going to change this icon also, and I'll put it down icon like this, and I'll also change the last text here is going to be for total customers like this, and I'm going to allow this one the way it is, the icon, and I'll just change the text that's here, and I'll put 199 Here I'll put 32% like this. And to all these down icons, I'm going to give them a class name of down like this, so that we can directly target them into inside of our CSS. Great. So now inside of our CSS, we need to style them, so now in here I'll copy this home count, and I'll say dot home count. What I want to do here, you want to first of all make it to be a grid, and we want to give it some grid template columns of repeat. How many times do you want it to repeat? So we want it to repeat 4 times, and we want it to be one fraction. So they are going to repeat 4 times, and each of them are going to be using the one separate, they're going to be using the same size. So here I'm just going to say gap. In order for me to space them, I'm going to use 1 rem. Great. So if I save them now, you can see there they are. Somehow great. Yeah, I feel it. So now inside of here, below here, I'm going to say home item. Let me copy the class home items, home items like this. So now instead of my home items, I want to first of all give it a background of var. It's going to be having a var color of white, the white variable, and we're going to be using also some padding here of 1 rem, and we're going to give it also a display of flex, and also a flex direction of colon with some box shadow of var shadow like this. And I also want to give all of them that are inside there a gap of 1 rem like this. So now if I space them, if I save it, you can see they are like this, but they are touching with our header. So I need to style them. I need to give like some margins. So I'm going to go to my home here, and I'll import also the home.css home.scss, and I'm going to create the file, which I can just target it up home like this, give it some display of flex direction of colon, and also some gap of 2 rem like this. Great. Now they are both separated. We've separated all of the guys that are inside of the home, so no guy or no component will be touching each other inside of the home.js. No matter the number of components we put, all of them, they're going to be separated with some gap of 2 rem. Great. Let me close back the home. So now inside of the home, we have our title that we want to style. So this is going to be having, it is inside, so let me bring it here. It is going to be having some color. I'm going to give it a color of var, and we're going to be using light dark. This light dark color, it's not so dark but somehow thin. The dark is thin. Yep. Okay, so now below this one, let me give some space there. Below this title, we want to take the item, I think it is item count, this one like this. So I'm going to say item count give it also some display of flex, and align items off center with a width of 100% so that you can take all the width that's inside of the box. And also I'm going to space them with some gap of 1 rem so you can see them properly. As you can see, here they are. Sweet. Now inside of my home count that we have here, we have this paragraph. So I'm going to start the paragraph here. So I'm going to say P, and I'm going to give the P of a font size of 1.5 rem like this, and it's going to be having a font weight of bold like so. So now you can see here it is. And also our below this paragraph, I'm going to target the SVGs, which are those icons, SVGs, and I'm going to give it a color, and it's going to be having a value here of an RGB, pardon. So we're going to have 0 red, we're going to be having 128 of some green, and we're going to having 94 of some blue. So if I save it, it's going to give me something like a green. Yes, so you can see all of them, they are green right now. But now these, the guys that are in the downward direction, they should be having like a red color. So I'm going to say and down, the one with the down class name, we want to change their colors to be red. So if I now save the work, and you can see there they are. Sweet. Now we are done with that other section, we are done with this one. And also, since you are done with the SVGs, we also want to start the span. We just want to give the span also should be having this light dark color. So I'm just going to put it like this, and when I save it, you can see there it is. Great. So now I can close this part, and we go now to the awesome part, which is the graph that we are supposed to make. So in order for us to use this graph, I'm going to create a new component here known as chart container, and inside of the chart container, I'm going to create a new file for line chart.js, and I'm going to run my RAFCE inside of it. Let me import the CSS that we're going to be using. Import chart container.scss. Let me create the file. So inside of my chart here, I'm going to create also another file inside of it. It's going to be for chart container.js, and below it I'm going to run also this, and I'm going to import the same color or the same styles. I'm going to import the same styles we're using. So I'm going to say import here chart container.scss. so this one that we created. Great. So now inside of my chart container, I want to import, first thing first, I want to import my line chart, and also I want to import another one. I'm going to create another guy here. It's going to be for bar chart.js also. So bar RAFCE first, then I import also here my chart container.scss like this. Now inside here I want to import also my bar chart like this. Great. So now if I go inside of my chart container here, I'm going to start by giving it a class name of chart container like this. And just for me to be rendering this text, I'm going to first of all render my line chart, and also the second one my bar chart. So both of them are going to be there like components, so they're going to be like this. Great. So now instead of my bar chart, we are going to be using this React Apex chart. It's a very cool chart library for React. It has this great stuff. So in order for us to use it, I'm just going to my terminal and I'm going to cut my terminal into two. And what I will say here is npm install react. I think it is done. So I'm just going to copy what they gave us here, copy, and I'll paste it like this, and I hit enter. So while waiting for it to install itself, inside of we're going to first of all start with the line container. So let me close all the tabs here, and I go and I take the line chart. Great. So inside of my line chart, what I want to do here is I want to have my div here, give it a class name. This one is going to be for line chart like so, and inside of it, we are going to have now our chart like so from React Apex chart, but I'm just going to say chart, and in here I'm going to say import chart from React Apex chart. Great. It is going to be a self-closing component. So now this Apex chart here takes in some props. So if you scroll down to it here, we have here, it takes in some props. We have here the first one, which is the type, and the type is the chart type, which is a mandatory prop, like it must be passed into it in order for it to be rendered out to the screen. We also have a series, and we also have the options, which are like the most important things that we are going to be using. So with the first one here, so in order for us to use it, first of all, we need to first of all create in an object here. So this object, I'm just going to copy it and I paste it, then I try to explain how it works. So inside here, I'm just going to paste it on top here, and in here we are having the first one, which is here, as you can see here, we have the series, we have here our options. Here I just paste in the series and also the options, and as you can see here, we have the type, and we have the series and also the options. Okay, so great. So inside of this chart here, I'm going to pass in my first props that I'm going to give it, which is going to be for options. So which option do I want it to have? I want it to use my chart chat options, which is this one, and I want you to use it options like so. And also I want it to have a chat series of this, and I want it to give a type, and this type here is a string, so I'm just going to say here line, and also I want to give it a height here of 100%, like so. Great. So if I save my work and I go back to my page here, oops, I never imported it inside of the home. So index.js of the component here, also I can say import chat container from /chat container, and I want to take in the chat container, and I also not forget to export our chat container like so. So if I save my work and I go back, open my console, my terminal, close this other window, inside of here, if I refresh my page, I'm not still seeing anything. This is because I've just imported it here, I haven't collected it. Oops. So if I go now to my home.js and just below here, and I say a chat container, and I import it also from this component folder, and I save my work, I need to see something like this, which is great. We need to style it so that it fits in our view, it fits in what we want it to be like. Sweet. Now inside of my chat container here, if I go directly in here, inside of this chat container, I want to go inside of his styling. So remember we created this styling here, so I'm going to say here dot, let me copy it, dot chat container, and also I want it is going to be a grid, and I want it to have a height of 350 pixels, and I also want to take the grid template columns of 1fr 1fr. Sweet. So now here my work is still the same, and I'm going to give here a gap of 1 rem like this, and I'm going to go inside of this chat container, go where this line chart is found, copy this line chart, and I will use it here inside of this CSS, inside of my chat container CSS. Let me reduce. So I want to paste this line chart, and I want to give it a background. It is going to be having a background here of white, and also it's going to be having some box shadow of this shadow variable. So if I save it now, you need to see, yeah, this looks somehow great. So I'll close this line chart, close the home, and I also go inside of my chat container, close the index. Now we are done with that one. Now it's remain also this bar chart. So now inside of this bar chart container here, I'm just going to give it also a class name of bar chart like this, and inside here we are going to do kind of the same. I'm also, let me just paste also its options, its chat option. They are kind of the same. So in here I'm just going to paste it also. So at the top here I'm just going to paste it. So instead of us using here chat options, and here we're going to be using also our chat and like this. Let me import a chat, import chat from React Apex Chat, which means that here I can now pass in my props also, which means that here I can say options is going to be chat data dot option, and I also want it to have some series, so it's going to be chat data dot series, and also I want it to have a height. The height that we're going to give it also is going to be 100%, and don't forget we need to give it a type that it needs to use, and for this case I want that its type should be but a bar, since we want that this one here should be instead a bar chart than for it to be like a normal chart. Great. So I'm going to save it here, and if I go now to my work, yeah, there it is, looking great. So now just instead of my stars here, I'm just going to copy this one, and also let me just put a comma here and I say bar chart, if I don't make an error. Bar chart, let me just copy it, and I put here bar chart like so. Great. So now there it is, also looking great. Now if you remember, we need to put in our table, and for us to put in the table, we are not going to be creating the table, we are going to be using a pre-made table for us that is coming from React Material UI, that is mui.com. So we are going to go to their official website and we are going to see how we use it. So getting started with it, so I'm just going to say, let me just copy it, what I say here. So I'm going to copy it here, go to my terminal, create a new terminal here, and I paste, oops, myself, I never copied it, copy their installation here. Let me just copy it, and I'm going to paste everything they say we need to install here. So great. So now inside here I'm going to click getting started, and what do I need? I need to have, like, I want some tables. Yeah, this table, I want them. So we're going to be using basically their tables that it already made. It is really interesting. So yeah, some basic example of their tables. Yeah, some basic example of their tables, and we want to use, I think we are going to be using this one. This one really looks interesting. So yeah, I'm going to click here to view the source code, and also I'm just going to copy all of their source code here. I'm going to click on this copy here, and I'm going to create a new component. I'm going to create a new component here known as table, and inside of my table I'm going to have a new file here, table.js, and where I'm going to run my RAFCE, or I can say where I'll just, instead of it, I'll just paste the code that it gave us, and instead of us using this, I'm going to change it. It's not going to be data table, it is going to be table, and I'm going to change this to const table equal to, is going to be an arrow function, and I'll export it, export default table, like this. So now it is great. Yep, I'll just save it, and now we need to install again one more thing from it in order for it to run. So I'm just going to copy this one, and I go inside my terminal while waiting for this one to be installed. It is done, so I'm going to say npm here, paste this one, npm npm install material UI x data x grade. So I'm going to close my terminal, and I'm going to import this table, import, I'm going to say import table from table, like this, and I'm going to say I want you to export me this table, this one, like this. Yes, it is done, which means that inside of my home, I can now also import this table like this, and just beside this one I'm going to say table. Great. So if I close this terminal and I go to this other terminal here, it is still compiling my code. I can now go back inside of this table page here, and I can also give this one some class name to be equals to table, and I'm going to also import its SCSS, which is going to be table.scss. Let me create the file, and when I say here table, I want to give it some background of var. We're going to be using var white, and I also want to give it some box hyphen shadow. I want it to be having var shadow, like this. So if I open my terminal, saving this correctly, go inside of this, hopefully I spelled it correctly. Great. So now I need to see my table just below this one. Great. And you can see that our table is pretty working great. It is working amazing. Our design here, it is sick. You can select any burger and it's going to bring us a burger. Oh, I really feel it from afar. You can go to my settings page, but we don't have the bills page and the Mrs. page, so let's create them. We are not going to design them, we're just going to put in there some text though. Let me close everything, go inside of here, inside of my pages here. I'm going to create new one for bills, oops, I already have it here, so I'm just going to create a new file for it, bills.js. So if you guys want us to design this page, you drop some comments down. So inside here, I'm just going to say cons here, bills equals to, like that, our function, and I'm going to return a div. I'm going to return this div with some class name that is going to be outlet, like this, and I'm just going to write here bill, a little small bill, like this, and also export default bill, like this. And also I'm going to create, yes, this one is also already there, where I'm just going to say messages.js, just going to copy everything here and paste it here, just changing this to be messages. And I'm also going to import all of them, import bills from bills, and I want to take in the bills. Same for my messages. So just below this one, I can import my bills like this, and I can also have my messages. So now inside of my app.js, closing this one aside, going to bring this one down twice, so that here I can say here I want to be going to my bills route, and here I'm going to render my bills component. Same here for my messages, like this. So in here I'm going to just import the bills and messages, like this. So now if I save my work, if I go to the bills page, I load the bills component. If I go to this other page and I'll leave it like that. So great with some animations also. That's why I really love this library. So if you love the design, if you love the build, don't forget to leave a like, leave a comment. And also if you want us to design this bills page and also the messages page, don't forget to leave a comment below. And also if you want us to build the profile page and the settings page, don't forget to leave your comment down below. So I'll see you in the next build. Peace.